Hey,
Gotcha.
hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you on Wednesday, May the 6th, the year's 2020. Let's talk trading. This is Brain Management, Part 4, Size Matters. But before we get started, boys and girls and non-binary traders, this is the disclaimer. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine. Trading is extremely risky. You can lose all of your money. If you need trading, investment, or financial advice, seek the advice of an accredited financial professional. And I've got Walmal on the line once again. How's it going today for you, Walmal?
Today it's been a different day, and it's been very profitable for me. But I had to go and adjust what I do, which I think will really go and fit into what we're talking about today.
Yeah. So, one of the things about the brain management is we always have talk about the money and the risk management, where the risk is the amount you're willing to lose on any given trade, and how you don't want to lose any more on any one given trade than you're willing to lose. And you do this through position size and stop loss. It's a function here. But when it comes to brain management, a couple of the biggies is FOMO, fear of missing out, and ROMO, regret of missing out. And, pain doesn't come from the market, it comes from your reaction to the market. And that's why we're talking about size matters. Because if you're just trading for a penny a pip and you lose 10 pips, it's no big deal. But if you're trading $100 a pips and you lose 10 pips, that's a grand. And I'm pretty sure for most of us, our pain is going to be a lot different on the 10 pips if we're only trading for pennies and trading for, hundreds of dollars. Do you agree, Walmal?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I just know that in terms of my trading plan, and I know I shared this with you, TRO, and the whole idea of size mattering. And I found that as I was building up my account size, and as I was increasing how much I was risking on any particular trade, I would start losing. Every time I go and say, okay, my account size is big enough, I can go to the next level. Next thing you know, I'm going through an entire day, an entire week of just loss. And it had everything to do with how my brain was reacting to those new dollar signs that were sitting out there and how much was being risked.
Yeah, it's funny for me. Um, It's only when I'm trading hundreds of dollars a pip, which isn't that often anymore. Every now and then I'll put on a Magilla trade. But the thing is, that's when my heart might start beating a little bit faster. But the funny thing about me is, for the most part, I don't have any of that fear at all. It's just like when I hop into a car, go on the racetrack. Once that visor goes down, I don't have any fear. Literally, there's no fear. I'm not afraid of crashing. I'm not afraid of going fast. I'm not afraid of taking corners. And when it comes to trading, what the funniest thing is, I will actually have a more reaction if I'm in a demo mode than if, and I've said this before, I believe, on some videos from years ago, than if I'm trading real money. Because usually, if I'm in demo mode, it's usually in front of people, so I've got something to prove. As opposed to just my normal trading, I just kind of sit back and try and be like the Mickey Rourke character in 9.5 weeks, all calm, cool, and collected. Of course, Walmall, he's heard me yelling at the screen, and I heard him screaming at the screen sometimes. But that's kind of all in fun. But the reality is, a lot of times I'm just staring there with my hands in a steeple position, not praying, but just watching what happens and being ready to do what I need to do when I need to do it. Because a lot
Are
of
you
times
are
it's
you
it's
ready?
waiting.
Yeah, just waiting and ready to react. And that's the thing, ready to react to what the market is doing. And and like I was saying, for me, it does matter. It does matter. So what I tend to do, and I think this all comes at the whole thing of brain management. How do you manage your brain? TRO's brain works differently in that than mine. But for me, it's a real issue, and I need to go and deal with that. And that's part of the reason what I do is that, okay, if I stepped up my account size, I know walking in I'm going to have a little bit of anxiety that I normally don't have. So what do? I make sure that I only go and take the best trades. I purposely will go and miss out on some opportunities so that I get used to seeing those bigger numbers flashing across the screen. The second thing I do is I actually, the trading window that's there, that tells you where you are in terms of profit, I squash it down and only put up pips. I purposely don't put up the P&L because that way I'm not seeing the dollars. I'm only seeing pips. Well, the pips haven't changed. So that makes it easier for my brain to go and work that out. And that works for me. It may or may not work for others, but you need to go and find how do you go and take that anxiety off of your brain.
Exactly, because once again, you just have to remember it's not the market causing pain, it's your reaction to the market. That's what's causing you pain, mental anguish, anxiety, and all of those emotions. And so I brought up the Walmal method screen here, and you can see that first candle looks like it barely touched.
Right.
It barely broke that 70 line, and following the one Walmall rule that's not listed is you sit out the first touch, and you see that second touch on that second candle would have paid up just on that one candle alone over 10 pips. And that's not a hairy hindsight trade because we show this every day. So
right. In fact, I jumped in on that second candle, and it just to show you, what happens in the real world is I jumped in and I jumped out way too early. I got out and walked away with a little bit more than 3 pips. I could have rode that thing down for 15 pips or more, but that's the reality of what happens sometimes. You just now part of it's because I was conditioned because of some market conditions that happened earlier in the day, but and that comes down to size matters as well, because you think about that, if I had gone in there with a larger size, man, that could have made my week, could have made my month. But that's just what trading is. But at the same time, what we have to remember is, what if you were on the other side of that trade, and you went in with something? Next thing you know, because that size mattering, you could wipe yourself out pretty quickly. So you need to go and make sure that you're trading and risking what you can risk, and that will help a long way in terms of how you go and manage that pain.
Exactly. So you need to tell the boys and girls and non-binary traders why you Walmal took 3 as opposed to doing a 10-5-1.
Well, what happened earlier in the day was the pound was moving in a strange way, a way that it normally doesn't move, and that was it was going to 5 pips or 6 pips profit, and then immediately, as soon as hitting that 5 pips profit, without usually about 4.8, of course, so that way my stop didn't automatically get moved. What it would do is it would throw back the other direction, like -8, -10 pips, and the next thing you know, instead of being up 4.8, you're now sitting there with -3. And that happened to me. It happened to me once, and I took that loss. In fact, I rode that loss, which is violated my rules, got myself into trouble, and I took a 4.8 loss on it. Happened to me a second time, and I wound up getting out with a 0.8 loss, which wasn't too bad, but I probably should have gotten out a little bit earlier, but I couldn't react quick enough, and I said, you know what? I have to go and trade what I see, and what I see today is that the pound is moving in my direction for the trades that I've been getting into. I've been getting to +4 or +5, okay? But I need to stop doing that. I need to go and stop looking for more on it because it's gone against me so many times. And what I did was I stopped, looked, and listened, and and just looked around. And so, hey, this wasn't just 2 aberrant trades that just happened. I know if I go back and look, it happened multiple times. So then what I did was I adjusted to the market. Okay, I didn't change my trading plan. I adjusted to the market. And so what I did was I said, you know what? As soon as I get 3 pips, I'm gone. And that's what I did. And so, I went and had those two losses, next thing, so the first thing in the day, you're down 5 pips, well, actually between commissions and everything else, I'm down 6 pips, and I don't mind saying now that I'm up 22.9, but every one of these I've gotten are on, 3 pip or 4 pip moves, one after the other, and multiple time after multiple time after multiple time, it would not have gotten to my 10-5-1 trading, my usual strategy. It wouldn't have worked out. But because I was able to pick off 3 pips, and sometimes 4 pips, and one time 5 pips, I was able to go and make that all up, and not only make it up, but put myself into a very profitable day.
Yeah. Now, the other thing is, if I'm looking here at the Walmal method here with the sweet spots and all, and the shaded zones, and you can see the 2 previous hours, there was a couple of nice trades to the short side, but they were only maybe, one was a 10 pipper and one was a 5 pipper, but the upside, you would have probably lost. And I know we talked about bias the other day, because a trader had said, what do you use for bias? And it's basically H1 candle color, which is a price meter. If it's down like it is here, it's red, and this line here would be green if it was up. So, and I also know that we look at the candle colors on all the time frames. Well, the monthly, the daily, the weekly, and H4 are all red here. So would you use any of those in selecting, like, I'm only taking short trades this hour, I'm not taking any long trades?
I definitely will go and look at the H4 to know if I said this yesterday, I'll say it again today. You call it a steamroller, I call it a bulldozer. I don't want to be trading into something that's just like, okay, today is going to be a day that we are going down. Okay, why would I go and try to fight an uphill battle? Unless I was looking to go and take a small trade, and I'm only looking to take a pip or 2 out of the market, I'm not going to go and do that. And the Walmal method is not meant to go and do that. It's meant to go and go with the direction of the market. So, it helps. So, yes, primary, absolute primary is going with the H1 candle. I will go and look at the H4 candle, and then when I look up at that multimeter that's on my screen, right now on the screen, the only thing that is green is my M15.
Yeah,
same. My M1 all the way through my monthly is red.
Yeah. And also, I just put a horizontal line at 123, basically 67, which is 3 pips below the 70 line. And if you look back, let's see, 1, 3, 4, maybe 5 ago, you can see how price kept hitting right around this 70 level and bouncing. It actually never closed below it. So you taking 3 pips there was probably, maybe you didn't draw that same line, but you taking 3 pips there was you realizing, maybe subconsciously that, hey, wait a minute, this ain't working. I better take my 3 pips.
Right. And actually what I did do was, I didn't draw an actual line on the chart, but I noticed that, and that was part of the thinking. I said, get your 3 pips and get out. And my thought process with my trading plan on that was, if I then go and break the 65, go and take it. But the problem is that candle broke down so quick, I couldn't. It would be catching a falling knife. I wouldn't be able to get into that trade without getting a decent entry. So I didn't take it. But that was what my goal was. But things sometimes don't work out the way you want them to work out.
Yeah, that's for true. That is definitely for true. And also, if you notice here, I don't know if I mentioned this before on the range indicator. I think I may have mentioned this. I added some features because a trader wanted to be able to use more than one instance. So for every instance you put up, it's just an integer. You can go, change it to 1, change it to 2 for each different one. But also the different options here. The high minus low is that's the range. But when you're doing analysis, like for example here, we might want to look at open to low because it's a down day. And so you can see open to low, the potential of these trades here. on the screen. And guess what, Walmal, the fastest 15 minutes in trading is up. So fellow traders, remember, size matters, because it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks.